Hello again, fellow YouTubers. Solon Pleasant here for Team O.M.G. Vanguard, and today we're doing another Card 5 Vanguard clan analysis review thing. And today we have Dark Irregulars, and that just jumped down. Thanks a lot. So, wrapping up the three original Dark Zone clans that actually do what Dark Zone's supposed to do, Dark Irregs have this mindset. Whereas Spike Brothers fire their soul off like a gun and Pale Moons kind of manipulate their soul, Dark Irregs do this. Soul charge, soul charge, soul charge, soul charge, soul charge. What else do we do? Soul charge, as well as soul charge, plus double soul charge, and get power off that soul charge. Dark Irreg's whole concept is soul charging themselves and then either doing one of two things. One, sitting on that soul charge and just using that soul for power consistently, or soul blasting it via all at once or via vampire style to do a really, really effective effect that will most likely be 4 game or close to 4 game. So, but most Dark Irregular users are going to do the whole, let's just sit on my soul charge and continuously soul charge to get more power. That's their whole concept. So, Season 1 Dark Irregs. Soul Charge for either Vampire or just Soul Charge for Amon. Those were the two big ones, Vampire or Amon. You're either going to Soul Blast and screw over your opponent for game, or Soul Charge for Amon and just kind of sit on Amon and just wait for your opponent to die. Season 2 Dark Irregs. We get new cards, and I'm going to talk about that kind of in the grade 3s because in Season 2 is when Dark Irregs start to get interesting support, and they start to become a very interesting clan, I would say. And then we get into Season 3, where Amon becomes the archetype. Season 4, they could get brushed under like all the other Dark Zone clans. And Season 5, we get some support, actually, which is surprising. And I will talk about that. Big users of this clan include Tetsu, which is another member of Team Asteroid. He's just kind of... he's dark and irregular, I guess you could say. And there's some other people that we don't really remember or care for. So, moving right along, let's talk about the only archetype in this clan. Amons. And let's just talk about the Amon deck, because it's going through some evolutions. And while it's loading up, I will discuss Season 1 Amon. Season 1 Amon had this in mind. Ride Demon World Marquise Amon, and then just sit there and wait for your opponent to die. That was, while soul charging like a freaking maniac, because that's what you do with Amon. Then he gets his followers in Season 3, and also becomes reversed. This is when things get weird. Now, big spoiler here, something I've mentioned with all the Amon units, if you will just kindly take notice to Amon's chest, you will see that there is an eye in the middle, and something that every unit that has Amon in its name will have an eye somewhere on their card art. That is their big thing. Now, Amons have become a very powerful archetype. They even have a grade 4, which sucks. But... huh? Oh, I see what you're doing. Oh, wow. Wow, you guys are going to consider that when Amon's just kind of barely in their name. Alright. Anyway. Amon's kind of... Once Amon got his own deck, he became brute force. The Amons used to be a standard vanilla... a standard rainbow lineup, but then we're getting another trigger in the next set, as well as a new starter, which is really nice in my opinion. And I'm going to say this right now about Season 5. Dark Irregs are getting really, really good support. Like, one thing Bushiroad's done right with Season 5 so far is the support they have given to Dark Irregs. Not just Amon, but also other units in general. Really, really nice and really good support. So, good job for you there, Bushiroad. Now, most of the Amon deck pretty much does what any other Dark Irregs deck would do. Soul Charge really fast, and then play Amon so that you can basically sit on that power. And then you get to the two ways you play the deck now. I will talk a little bit later about Astaroth, because I feel like he's something that needs to be mentioned. But as for Amon Reverse, the idea was this. Oh, I probably should pay a cost for getting +1, but I should also gain something extra now considering I'm paying a cost. So I'm going to be a cross-ride to Amon that says I become 13 instantly because I cross-rode on Amon. And then I'm going to lock a unit and get +1 for each card in the soul and a crit if it's 6 or more in Dark Regs. So I get +1 for each card in the soul and a crit. That's basically what it is. And I talked a lot about Amon Reverse, so I'm not going to talk a lot about him here. But basically, he's the cheapest reverse in the game, and he's the easiest reverse to manipulate. He's the best reverse, in my opinion, because of how easy you can use him, and how he does not need to combo, really, with any other card in order to work. You just need a card on the field, and a crap ton of stuff in the soul before you ride him on Reverse. You do not even need the cross ride, because he gets enough power anyway. And to T, who says Dayusha is the best reverse, I put him at number 2, give me that much. So, the Amon archetype is pretty much the same as every other Darky Regs deck. It's just easier to use because now you have really awesome grade 3s to run. Moving on, let's just talk about how you run a trigger lineup for a Darky Reg deck. A lot like Pale Moon, Darky Regs don't have a specific way of running things. Really, what you do with Darky Regs is you either do one of two things. You either run the Amon deck and basically have a rainbow build of nothing but Amon triggers, or you basically run whatever you need to run in order to get things into the soul. Basically, if you don't run Amon, your trigger lineup should consist of cards that say, put me in the soul to do something, or soul charge to do something. And one specific grade 0 we're actually going to talk about is a very amazing draw trigger that isn't Amon, which would be Hysteric Shirley. Now, this came out in set 1, and the instant I saw this, I knew this was a good card. Not a lot of people really thought of much of this at first, but I looked at this and I'm like, yeah, this is good. What does Hysteric Shirley do? Well, it'd be nice if the site would tell us. Be real nice if the site would tell us. Alright, I'm just gonna go off what I see. Alright, Hysteric Shirley does this. Put her in the soul, soul charge 1. Yeah, that's really awesome. Basically, soul charge 2. Which, the only other cards with the capability of soul charging 2 are in Amon, so that's really good. And I'm just going to kind of get out of that because there's no way I can get back to the page. Alright. Okay, back. So, you pretty much run stuff such as Hysteric Shirley, you'd run an obvious, a stand would be Dark Queen of Nightmare Land, Dark Knight of Nightmare Land for crit. Pretty much stuff that that says in some way put something into the soul. That's how you run your trigger lineup. However you manage to get that off is kind of how you would run that. So I'm not going to specifically focus on a grade 1, I'm just going to talk about grade 1s that definitely need to be talked about. First off, Demon Bike of the Witching Hour. Really awesome card, basically says if you have a copy, I get +2 for each copy in the soul. So I place 1 on a rear guard, have 3 copies in the soul, I get +6 to my already 6k. So I become a 12k booster. Really good card to have, really awesome. Another really good card, Dimension Creeper. It's a 1 drop for 2 soul charge, is basically what he does. And that combos well with Doreen the Thruster, as well as other cards that say, hey, I do something when I soul charge. Which, speaking of Doreen the Thruster, her whole mechanic is when you soul charge during the main phase, get +3 for that soul charge. So, in Darky Regs, if you run a thing where you Dimension Creeper like 3 times, you get +3, 6, you get +18 to his 6k. Yeah, in 1 turn. Doreen is a very good tank unit and is good either in an Amon deck or not an Amon deck. She's just really good to have. Other good cards. Potent Darkness Amon is a very interesting card. I think I'd rather talk about him in deck profile if anything, but he's there. Just gonna throw that out there. And Yellow Bolts. Yellow Bolts is also good in an Amon deck or non-Amon deck. Basically, rest him, soul charge 1. Good with Doreen, good with almost anything. Also, really good card to have. So, moving on to grade 2s. The big one that I think I should talk about when it comes to grade 2s is... I will mention Dark Soul Conductor. He's more of a tech card, but basically if you guard with him, you Soul Charge 2. Which, I didn't really mention him because Pale Moons also have something in Big League Bear, but you get the idea. So, what I will talk about is, I believe it's Emblem Master. His ability is Counterblast 1. When this unit attack hits Vanguard, if you have Dark Regs Vanguard, you might pay the cost. If you do, Soul Charge 3. For a 9k. For 1 Counterblast. Which is really, really good in, again, almost any deck. And the one thing with the Amons, much like some of the one thing that Amons have over Silverthorns in that battle is that Amon can really just work with whatever. It's really the support that he has that needs to work with other Amon units. So, really, you can run Amon reverse in pretty much any deck. It's just the other Amon units that don't necessarily work as well without other Amon units. Like, a lot of the Amon units specifically say you need Amon as Vanguard, so if you're running stuff that doesn't have Amon in its name, you pretty much have to wait for your grade 3 Amon to pretty much get off most of those effects. But, still, pretty good. And before I talk about grade 3s, again, one thing I will say about Darky Regs is they get really good support when they do. Season 1, good support. Season 2, really good support. Season 3, Amon. Season 4, didn't get jack, but then again, almost nobody did. Season 5, getting really good support. Darky Regs, like Spike Brothers, get good support when they get support. So, let's just talk about a lot of big hitters here. I'm not going to click on all these, I'm just going to kind of briefly summarize them. Amon's leader, Astaroth. Legion with Amon, one of the most deadly combos in the game, one of the most deadly legions in the game. And the reason I don't hate it is because, 1, it's not for a meta clan, and 2, because you don't need to Legion every turn to do it. You just need to Legion and pretty much just sit there and be like, oh, we have 10 to soul, get plus 10 to crit, basically. I become a 31k swinger with a crit every turn. Really awesome. Blade Wing Reggie, really interesting card. I know Monty has used him before, so hopefully if he does a deck profile of his Darky Regs deck, he will definitely bring it up. But Blade Wing Reggie, if you have a specific amount of units in the soul, get plus 2 crit for the rest of the game. Really good. I'm just trying to think. I'm not sure if Dark Lord of Abyss was a good thing or not. I forget, so I'm just not going to mention it. Talked about the Amons already. Echo of Nemesis, also a really interesting card. Edel Rose. Interesting if you don't want to play meta. Edel Rose is very anti-meta. It's a 9k that gets plus 5 in a crit when you counterblast, and you have Seeger in the soul. So, very interesting card. I'd look that one up on your own. Beelzebub Sucks. King of Master Arctan, Break Ride, that basically says, hey, up to 3 units. Get the power of Amon. Really good. Master of the Fifth Element, also a very interesting card. No Life King Death Anchor. Another very interesting tech card for people who want to run Suicide. Out of all the cards in Darky Regs, Death Anchor is the most suicidal when it comes to how much you need to soul charge. And he basically says, turn your damage zone from 0 back to 5, and you basically get the trigger effects for each, I guess. So Death Anchor is a very suicidal build, but can work. I don't really want to talk about the other Legion because I don't think it's that good. So, last thing I will mention is Steel Vampire. And I'm really not going to talk about the Grade 4s because I just think they're average at best. There's really nothing interesting about them. Steel Vampire is Darky Regs is actually the only clan, in my opinion, besides Angel Feather, that can Mega Blast and still work with Mega Blast. And Steel Vampire is that reason, because Vampire has the idea of, hey, Soul Blast, Mega Blast, and I basically turn your Vanguard into its lowest grade. So, say you have a grade 0 on the field. Your Vanguard is grade 0 this turn, and it's stuck in your soul for the rest of the game. So, he's kind of an interesting unit for people to run when they don't want to run Amons, or they can't afford Amons. And Vampire can actually work with Amons. I think I do have 1 Vampire in my deck, because Amon takes no... because Amon Reverse doesn't counterblast. So I can pretty much call Vampire to rearguard, use up all that, use Amon's ability. Not only am I hitting you with power and crit, you're also probably at a grade 0. Good luck guarding that. So Vampire is, again, a very interesting card. So my apologies for not showing any of these, but I think it's better to just kind of look those up on your own, because there's a lot to kind of go through, and I try to make these videos as short as I possibly can at times. So overall, where are Darky Regs on the meta? Or on the tier? Okay, back. So overall, what do I think of Darky Regulars as in where are they on the tier level? I'd say Darky Regs are very high mid-tier to low top tier. And here's why. One, really, you don't need to run their archetype of Amon to have a good Darky Regs deck. The concept of how you make a good Darky Regs deck is, if your unit soul charges, you should probably run it. If you can get off enough soul charge, and then you have a good grade 3 setup that can utilize the fact that you've soul charged so much, you've got a pretty much you just need a good grade 3 setup, and then the rest of your setup should be based on how well you can soul charge. If your deck can soul charge well enough, as well as get enough power off that soul charge, you've got a good deck, and you have a very valid strategy to fight against pretty much any other deck. The one thing with Darky Regs is they don't essentially need a field to work. They just need to soul charge. That is it. Amon and Amon Reverse, well, Amon specifically, does not need a field in order to work. You can have Link Joker and lock down his entire field, but you cannot destroy his soul, which means he's still going to hit you for a ton of power. And Darky Regs can get good power off of soul charging. So, that's what makes them very high mid-tier to low top tier, along with Spike Brothers. The fact that they can get enough power off just doing their basic necessity. And one of the things, like, out of all the Dark Zone clans, Darky Regs are probably the easiest to use once you figure out how. Once you figure out, like, how to set up your whole soul charging flow and how you get that flow going, they become a very easy deck to use and a very easy deck to win with, because their core essential is getting power off those soul charges. Which makes them a whole lot more deadly, and anytime, you can ask anyone who has ever played this game ever, if they played Darky Regs, especially if they played Amon, they know and fear Darky Regs soul charging. It's like one of the core essential rules of Cardfight Vanguard. Don't P-guard first turn, or some other rules. Hate first turn heals, fear Darky Regs, and especially fear Amon. And I actually think like Dark Zone as a full, like, nation has some of the best 10Ks still in the game. And I think these three clans from Dark Zone are all very, very effective in doing what they do. And again, much unlike, say, clans from Unite Sanctuary or the Dragon Empire, Dark Zone has the clans where they don't really care about the meta, they just do what they want, and they can get off their skills and they can still win without needing to comply to any forms of meta. They don't care if their field is blown up, they don't care if their field is locked, they don't care if they're charged with a bunch of power. They conserve their hand, they rush, or they basically just get enough power to win. And that's actually why I think that Dark Zone has a lot of good has good clans, and I actually use all 3 clans from Dark Zone. Well, wait, what? Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one. Yeah, join me next time when we talk about the adopted child of the Dark Zone. Anyway, this has been Solomon Pleasant from Team O.M.G. Vanguard. This has been the clan Dark Irregulars, and this is Solomon Pleasant signing off.